Alright, so not only that we completed the whole introduction and everything, which, you know, I know it was a bit long, everything. But yeah, I'm just having fun with this whole GoPro thing and being able to just point and shoot. Now we're actually gonna go down the trail. But hey, you know, I just checked the battery and I got like 19 minutes, or not 19 minutes, I have like 19% battery left. I'm telling you, man, I am the worst. Like I you know, just, I never come prepared and it's annoying. I probably should have charged it a little sooner. But you know, I'll just record to see, or record as long as I can before it dies. But yeah, now I get to show you guys this whole thing. You know, granted, I probably will fast forward a few parts because it is a lot to really take in, and I understand, you know, you guys have things to do and you don't have time to watch somebody climb a mountain, someone that's as slow as me. But you know, I'll try to climb as quick as I possibly can, I guess, or to my ability. But you know, along the way, I also want to explain, you know, the difficulties and, you know, the things that, you know, I kind of have to go through, because I don't think people quite understand what it is or how difficult it can get. Like, for example, like this part right here. For, I guess, any person that's watching, I like to think, like, you know, not a lot of people have my illness, but I understand there's a lot more people that are, or that have a lot more severe illnesses and whatnot. You know, they can climb this thing and they do it in their own pace and they do it in their own style, right? Now, thinking people without illnesses, right, they can climb this up like it's just nothing. You know, they just climb upstairs and whatnot and they just go up. For me, for example, I'm using these tricket poles. I think that's what they're called, or I just call them hiking sticks. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but I'm literally leaning forward onto this, using my upper body to pull myself up. Because what happens, it's like my legs, although they do bend in the way they should, right? It's almost like I needed to put like added pressure onto it. And that's where my upper body and my arms come to play, which was what I was talking about earlier, that it's, you know, difficult to use my regular handheld camera because I'm using the, you know, like a selfie stick. I'm kind of like shooting the ground, and that's obviously occupying one arm, which, you know, may not seem like a huge difference, but it actually impacts my like flow of movement. And these are the sections where, you know, it kind of like gravity kind of pulls you down and all that. And this is where I really like lean forward and just you know, just use my upper body strength to kind of push myself up. And that's what makes these things kind of challenging. And when you're obviously using like different, like, well, not different, but, you know, when you're obviously using like another camera and all that, it's really difficult to really maneuver your body because you only have one arm. So you just keep going like that. And right now, we'll reach this little section right here where I'll give it like an example, or not really an example, but it's more like what I have to do, because you know, although these poles do come in handy, sometimes you know it's a lot better to just use, you know, just your regular body and your arms and whatnot. Like here, for example. So, capture this. So this is like an elevation right here, right? This is like a regular stair step or something. Now for me, I have to use my hand and push myself up. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have to use my upper body to push myself up. And then when it comes to these, it comes to like just improvising. You know, when it comes to someone with, you know, just anybody that's normal, I guess, for lack of a better word, they would just get up there like nothing. They'll probably just run to it, you know, add a little bit of momentum. But for me, you know, to push my hand to the rock, put the poles here as leverage, and then push myself up. And yeah, that's just ways, or you know, things that you still kind of adapt. And that's one thing that you learn, which I think that's how it has to be. You know, there's no other way about it. You have to learn, which I can definitely get that some of you might not understand, and that's completely understandable, because you know, you guys weren't born with a disability, so it's kind of hard to really explain to a normal person what it's like, or the difficulties and the things that you have to do, because they might, you know, to them it might not seem that bad, right? They'll be like, well, that's not too bad, right? And which, you know, it isn't. But when it comes to like not being active and not doing things, it really becomes a lot harder, because you know, put on weight, right? And with what I have, which is a neuromuscular disorder, your bones are already weak. So imagine putting on weight. You're not active. You don't do any sort of activities. Your conditioning is like beyond bad, and you know, your muscles are already weak on as itself. So it's almost like you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? So, you know, it's kind of like, it's hard. And so like, it really varies depending on the sort of, you know, different person or the situation with the person. Like for me, for example, I, you know, not to, you know, flex on anybody or none of that, but, you know, I'm not fat. You know, I'm not fat. I'm not overweight. I'm not obese. I'm like 113 pounds. And if you guys can notice, I'm like kind of breathing a little bit heavy. And if the camera captures it, it may seem like I'm carrying something heavy on my back, right? Which I'm not. You know, I'm just carrying a bag with like a water and something. Yeah, just the water. And it may seem like I'm like struggling, you know, because I am. And it's not because I'm overweight. It's not because, you know, the trails are, you know, that difficult. It's just because my conditioning isn't at the, you know, the point that I wanted it to be, and my, obviously my disability and all that. It's you know, it's really just holding you, or you know, just adding a lot of, you know, difficulty. Now maybe in the future I'll get like my sister or someone to come with me, so they can shoot from the back, you know, they can record as I'm climbing, so you know, you guys are just seeing the front, because I just wanted to show you guys the scenery of the mountains and all that. And for a bit, I guess, a better visual point from everything I was talking about previously. I need someone else to sort of kind of shoot from the back, and yeah, so you guys can see what I'm talking about when it comes to where it feels like I'm carrying heavy loads or something. And again, these are, you know, the steps and everything. And just climb up. And that's really how it's always been. You know, going back to having to adapt, or having to find creative or different ways to, you know, put yourself in this situation. It just comes with growing up with it. From you know, from what I've always remembered when I got surgery when I was a kid, the whole me putting my hand on my leg when climbing up things, that just came to you naturally. So right here, actually, whenever I reach this like a little section, I call this like a little checkpoint, because they're almost like you know, points of interest, I guess, or what are those things called? Landmarks, I guess. It kind of lets me know, okay, I'm, you know, somewhere near the first part. So as you can see, that's where we started, coming up here. Now, if I really want to be like a major dick to myself, I can always say that if this were my dad climbing up and he was shooting this video, he would have completed this in like 10 minutes. Like, you know, dead ass, he'll be done by now. And, you know, I can come up with an excuse saying, oh, the reason why I'm taking so long is because I'm talking, but, you know, literally talking doesn't have to do with anything. I'm just naturally this slow. All right. And here's the reminder thing. So this is what I'm talking about. What's cool about it is that you know, I get to show you guys this thing so you guys know what I'm talking about. Right here, we're midpoint, and we still need all this. So as you guys can tell right there, this whole trail is not even a mile. You can see it right there, 0 miles, 0.57, and we still have like 1,000 feet left to go, or 100 feet, my bad. Yeah. So it's, again, guys, this is what I'm saying, and this is what I always tell anyone that's into like, or that's thinking about getting into like, you know, to exercising or their journey on losing weight and all that. I'm like telling them, well, dudes, literally the mountain I go to is not even a mile long, and it's almost like a workout. And you know, I always tell them, you know, just do something, man. Like and just coming out and getting some sun is already good in itself. Okay, so right here I gotta be a little careful because I actually fell here once, not in this area, but right now we'll take a turn, and it is like super thin, like it's like super, like the spacing, it's like really close to the edge. So, and again, this is where I always say that where the hiking sticks or the hiking poles really come in handy, because it's like you basically had 2 extra legs, you know. And to think that I used to climb up here without the sticks, y'all, like seriously, I used to just get up here without any of this. Okay, so right here you can see gets a little, you know, bumpy and kind of ugly and stuff. Alright, and this is the turn, and this is where I nearly fell over and rolled down the mountain. I was with my sister, and I don't even know what the hell we were talking about, but I was just so caught into the conversation that I wasn't paying attention to my, you know, to my footing, and my foot got caught in one of the rocks that was sticking out. And because that was around the time where I stopped coming, and you know, my condition was really, really bad. I was beyond tired at this point, and I fell, and because I was so tired, I wasn't able to maneuver my body in the way that I wanted to, so I literally was slouching over to my right side, and my sister, she pulled me from my backpack strap, which, you know, was actually pretty scary, because my hand was literally already off the edge, and she reacted kind of late too, so it was almost like, you know, what the hell.